Let's see. I'm a worship leader, producer, multi-instrumentalist. I'm a fellow obsessor, and I'm working with you to get better every single day. Today we're talking about how deep is your team. So I was reading last night. I was up kind of late, and I don't know, I can't sleep. So I'm reading Worship Plus Facebook post, and there was a guy in there who's like, hey, our drummer quit yesterday, took his wife with his bass player or something. It seemed like almost one scenario happened and the guy's out of a drummer, completely no drummer. So he's like freaking out, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this happen? And this just brought to my mind something that I'll talk about today. What do you do if you only have one drummer and he decides to quit, or he just goes to another church, or he gets moved out of town, or whatever? It happens all the time. If you have one drummer, one bass player, and they're married, that's even worse, right? That could be bad. That could be good for fun times, but bad if they decide to get a job in a city an hour away. That's all it takes. And then what you have is no drummer, no bass player, and you're kind of scrambling. So, I talk a lot about continual intentional training for your worship band, for your worship team. Think ahead. I mean, I've been there. And most of the time, if you guys are leading worship or leading bands or whatever, you got to be thinking deep. In other words, you want 4 drummers, 4 bass players, 4 guitar players, 4 worship leaders. Our church here in Spring Hill, we're getting close. We're getting very close. We were in a team meeting a couple weeks ago, and one of our main worship leader took off out of the country 6 weeks or so. So, and everything's going to be fine because he's been planning and building a team, and the team has been building a team, and other team members on the team are building a team. There is mentorship happening even on a granular level. So we have a new live stream video. And so we got our video guy training a team under him. Sound team. It's having to grow. Everything after the pandemic changed because we moved buildings. We've lost a lot of people just in the fact of not being able to come to church right now. So some of our drummers are out. Some of our sound guys are out still. And we have been, it's been lean. It's been lean, but we are still building teams. In fact, we're on the upswing now, where our core got a little stronger, and now we're starting to train in lanes more people. That's important, right? If you have only one drummer and he goes and gets a job, and this happens, I mean, it happens. He's going to get a different job and he's going to have to move 45 minutes away, and he's going to say, "Hey, I can't play drums." We had a sound guy this year moved about 45 minutes away, one of our main guys. He's no longer going to be running sound, so it's just too far to drive. He was there for a while. All of this to say that if you only have a few musicians, the thing that I've been talking about in Worship Band Builder in Foundations is continual intentional training. So always training new people, always looking ahead, even if you got to have people in all levels. So you've got your pros or your go-to guys, and then you have underneath them your second string, your next up, and then you've got maybe a third, and maybe even a fourth drummer that's still just trying to learn. Maybe he never plays on the main stage. Maybe he only does your training sessions, but he's getting ready so that if drummer A decides to go out of town for 6 months or decides to get a job, then you've got somebody else. So leave me your comments. What do you guys think about this? How do you think, I'm going to put this, you can get more people? That's a good question. How do you think you can get more people? Let's see if this chat works in my Restream. It looks like it's going out at least to most of the platforms. But how do you get more people? I'm gonna give you some options here in my talk today, and I'll be doing more live talks. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments, because I'm going to be doing more live chats every day. I've been working on a project that didn't allow me to get on live chat much. So how do you get 4 drummers? How do you get 4 bass players? How do you get 4 guitar players? It takes a lot of work. Okay, it takes continual and intentional training. This week, we're doing, I'll pop this up because we're doing Worship Leadership Foundations. This week, we're actually doing what team model works for you, rotating people or rotating teams, rotating people within teams, and as we get kind of confusing, are you going to rotate a bunch of different people all around and have just one big ginormous team with a bunch of pieces coming in and out? Or are you going to be rotating a whole band? That's what we're talking about this week in the Worship Leadership Foundations module. So you can get this module today. You can enroll and just jump in with us. We're only on week 2 of 9. Or you can always join in the new thing, which I was going to make sure I tell you guys all this. It's a new premium membership. You can do monthly, and you get everything. You can get all the lessons, and it's really an awesome, affordable deal for you. So if you want to jump in monthly, you'll have lessons, you'll have webinars, you'll have all the new foundations courses as they come, and you can just kind of spread out the cost. It is the most affordable way to do it. So I ask you to consider joining. Also, it supports the ministry. So a lot of times I'll say donate. The best way to really support the ministry, if you're enjoying the videos and things, is just join the monthly membership. And as we grow, that definitely supports us, allows us to make more videos, do more stuff, spend all day online doing live training. So if you look over, if you look over Worship Band Builder, you can see that we have modules for each instrument. So I'm a multi-instrumentalist. I said that in the opener today. I play a lot of instruments. Also, I trained on a lot of instruments. I spent my whole life just playing instruments. So drums, bass, guitar, piano. Guitar is my forte instrument, the number one that I play. Then I probably go back down to drums. My degree's in voice, vocal education. So I played a lot of instruments my whole life. I switched around and played a lot. So for me, it's sort of natural to just teach a drummer or to get some younger drummers and say, hey, you want to play? And we can just jam. And it comes natural to me. But it's not true for everybody. It's not true that everybody's going to feel that comfortable. And that's why I've created the Worship Band Builder Foundations bundles. So if you have young people in your church who are wanting to play, you just pop them into one of these bundles, okay? The guitar vocal bundle, the piano theory bundle, drums and bass bundle. They're all foundations. The reason why I don't have, usually in my ministries, I will not have a problem having enough people is because I'm just recruiting all the time. Every time I find somebody, they say, oh, I might play guitar. I'm like on top of them, like, what do you mean you play guitar? How good you want to come to practice, whatever. Or somebody says, yeah, I used to run sound for, so-and-so. I'm like, oh, what about you? Could you get in? It takes effort, from you as a leader to do that. But then it becomes easier as you get going, because then if you're out of town, you've got drummers. If your drummer gets sick, you've got more drummers. You create around you a team. Really, I had a blog post a couple months ago or a year ago called Train an Army of Musicians. That's really what it is. You're training up an army of people around you. They're all going to be at different levels, but they're there. And so you can, not just have practice, not just put them on stage. I had bands that I was playing with in a ministry that I had that were just a training band. They were like the training wheel band. They knew it. They practiced every week and never led worship. They would lead worship once every 4 months. And that was a big deal to them because they were young musicians and they were a little bit nervous and they were just getting started. They weren't young kids. These were adults. So it's okay for you to say to some of the people, we're building this team model. We've got these teams going, and we have this team that's just sort of an entry team. You're just not sure that you're ready for stage, but you'd like to jam. I tell you, jamming is like the best, absolutely the best way to get good at playing. And one of my drummer friends called. He's probably on there. If you're on there, Paul, say hi. Paul called me and said these young guys don't know how to jam. And I think it's true. If I grew up only jamming, just hours and hours after school every day with my buddies, jamming. That there was no charts. We wrote some songs. We did some stuff. But jamming is important. So just getting together with a jam band at church and saying, every fourth Friday of the month, it's just jam band. We get together, we just hang out. Church doesn't have to be all business and boring and all structured. Now Sunday morning it does, because that's your show time. That's your time. That's your A-team time. That's the time when you want people excellent, skilled, comfortable musicians on the stage. You're not going to flim-flam around on Sunday morning and just mess around and goof around in jam session. That's not going to happen on Sunday morning, at least in my worship programs. But you want to have a place for that. So we have a youth band. We still have good musicians. We have youth band jam sessions. We just get together and play. You can tell when young musicians are getting together that they're just having fun. Like, to me, it reminds me of back in my day when I was just kind of, all I want to do is play, and I was young. You get a chance to play riffs. You get a chance to mess up. You get a chance to try out a new pedal. You get a chance to play with the new drummer, and sometimes you leave and like, oh, that guy wasn't that good, and that was bad. That didn't sound that good. But that's what it is. That's what it's about as you're growing as a musician. So how we wrote Foundations was that every band member, the drummer, the bass player, the piano player, guitar player, the electric guitar player, they learn the foundational skills of the instrument. Foundational skills. They could show up and jam. And beyond that, after they're done jamming, they could be the electric guitar player. A little bit of jamming, a little bit of training, a little bit of foundational key elements, and you're a musician. Then you're a musician. It's a long-term growing thing that you're doing as a musician. So that's what Foundations is. So if you click on any of these, you can see that you can take these bundles, you can take them as a team, you can take them as an individual. I'm really excited about the audio live stream Foundations because that's where my brain has been over the last couple months. Just recently taking over the media director position at my church, volunteer, but developing a team. And the guys that are with me, they're developing their teams, our video guys. I'm really the audio guy. That's where my forte is. That's really what I'm into. And so we've got some really good guys on our video team. We got some good guys on our ProPresenter team, our presentation team, our lighting team. And we've got some young kids that ran the board last week. Young kids. I'm talking like probably 15-year-old kids. So I want to tell you about our partnership with Church Answers, and it's featuring Tom Rayner from Church Answers. If you have not heard of Tom, or if you have not seen this new website they just released recently, check it out at churchanswers.com. Also, Foundations All Access Worship Team Training Bundle, the best price for the entire bundle for your church. If you're a church leader, I'm showing you this if you're a church leader. It's $9.99. This is a limited time offer on the churchanswers.com website. This is the lowest price. This is the best price. We partnered with them to offer this to you, and you get every bundle that we have. And you can have payment options. This website is extremely easy to use, and it is extremely awesome. This has 8 modules, over 182 videos, almost 1,000 minutes of stuff. The one PDF you get is your license, so you can give this to anybody in your church. So you can go guitar, vocal, piano, music theory, drums, bass, electric guitar, audio tech, and all of that. Lifetime access, one payment, or you can make payments. If you pay in installments here, it looks like they have really good $99 down payment and then just 10 monthly payments of $99. Now, okay, so $99 a month for 10 months, and then it's lifetime access. Okay, think about giving lessons to one drummer in your church. One drummer in your church would pay at least $99 a month to go to a drum teacher. And then that drum teacher may or may not be a Christian and may or may not be teaching him anything other than AC/DC intros. That's funny. I think that you should learn AC/DC intros, probably, because it's rock and roll, you know? That's good. But if you're trying to train a drummer for your church to play with a click track, if you're trying to train a bass player to play to a chord chart, we have guys that come to our church now and they say, well, I've played bass my whole life, but I'm having a hard time with, following these charts because they're not learning the methodology of our church music program. That's what Foundations is. Like, for example, the Bass Foundations module. It shows you how to play all of the bass notes on the neck and then how to read a chart. So it's important that you would do this for your team for just 1 year of payments, and then you're done. I'm trying to explain to you the value here. The value is tens of thousands of dollars saved in training. Tens of thousands of dollars saved in training. And the training is spot dead on. Exactly what you need. Think about this. All these years of being a worship leader, that I've been a worship leader, I've been wishing that that bass player would come in and know certain things. I'd be wishing that the bass player would play certain stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I put in Foundations. I was wishing that the drummers would be this certain way. As a worship leader, as a band producer, I'm looking for certain things for success in my band program. So as we taught these sessions for drums, for bass, for guitar, we're talking to your new members. We're talking to those young musicians coming in going, I want to play the drums. So many people sitting in your church right now thinking, I'd love to play the drums on Sunday morning. I'd love to be in a band, but I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. With Foundations modules, and especially with the module you get here through Church Answers, you get an access code for everybody in your church and your community. So they can learn at their own pace. They have downloadable resources. It's a church-wide license, and basically they can play these online all the time on their iPad, on their computer. They log in, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Look, there's nothing else I can say other than the value isn't extremely good here. But the point is, of my whole entire thing, my whole entire point of this whole video was that if you don't have 4 or 5 drummers right now in your church, then your one drummer that decides to get a job in, Texas and leaves is leaving you a big hole. It's a big problem. I've been there before in churches that I've taken on, new churches, where there wasn't a depth of long-term training, where there was one guy playing the drums, and I got there, I'm like, okay, how many drummers? We got this guy. And that guy's been playing there for 6 years, and he's the only one that ever plays. There's a lot going on wrong with that scenario. But I know that's how the church does it. I know that's how churches do it. The one guy gets on there, he plays the drums, says, I'll be here every week, and there it is. It's a shallow, thin ice. It's like, as a worship leader, you're on thin ice. As a band member, director, you're on thin ice. One guy decides to go on vacation for 2 weeks. Or just maybe he gets mad. I mean, that happens too, right? He might just get mad at the pastor because the pastor preached on something funny, and he might leave the church 6 years later. Now you have no drummers. You don't have the depth in your program. Foundations is all about that. It's all about the depth. It's about the depth of program. It's about training. And for us right now, I'm in doing a lot at church. It seems to have accelerated upon me, but a lot is going on, and with COVID and with the pandemic, we've lost a lot of people, and we're trying to rebuild teams. Not like I said in the beginning, not lost them forever, but maybe they're not there yet. They're not coming back. They're watching online. A lot is happening, but it is an opportunity to train more people. It's an opportunity to get down in there and be like, hey, I know you've never played on stage before, but come to some jam nights, come to some jam sessions. We're going to do this. So, hey, Quintus, how's it going? Hey, Quintus, it's good to see you from South Africa, man. Let me know what's going on. What's going on at your church? Because I want to talk to you about that this week. And as I do my live streams today, I'll be back on later talking about some. I think I know what I'm talking about today. Later today, I'm going to be doing live mix critiques. I'm going to critique my live mix from this week. I can do it freely because I mixed it, and I'm going to listen to it with you guys and critique it later on today. And I'm excited about that. I'm going to put my headphones in. I don't think I did the most perfect mix this week. I was a little bit distracted, and there's some things that I'll talk about in that video, how to make the live stream mix better. We'll do that in a couple hours today. Make sure you like the video, share the video with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and if you really just want to get in and support and get into what we're doing here at Worship the King, go there and join for $19 a month. It's an amazing amount of resources, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos and downloads and tutorials on everything ranging from just playing the guitar for the first time ever, literally just picking up the guitar for the first time ever, to mixing your live stream mix in Logic for your band if you're trying to do this. I've always been a well-rounded guy. I've always dove into this as a musician and thought, what do I need to do to make this happen? So, hey, if I want to play a gig, I'm going to have to learn how to use the sound system. So I just learned how to use it, and I just obsessed on it. So I'm going to keep obsessing. You guys let me know what you want to talk about this week as we go into our live stream mixes, as we go into our live streams of the week. And also, don't forget, you can just join in right now, because this week we're talking about how to build the model of rotating teams or rotating people in our foundation's webinars this week. God bless you guys. I'll see you on the next live.